last year about this particular kind of job. I mean, it's not one of the safest, but let me paint a picture for you. You're a successful, beautiful, and charismatic lady. And I'm saying lady because I feel like sometimes guys are not, as exposed as ladies are. But you receive a call for business. You have to meet this unknown person in an empty house. I know. It sounds like nonsense because who would go, right? You would want to make business in a very busy place or public place. But realtors every day work with people they sometimes never met before. And most of the time, they meet in empty houses. It is part of the business, right? In today's case, we're going to see the dark side of what it should be a business transaction. And it takes us to Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, Beverly Carter was kind of a local celebrity. She had billboards, she had ads in the paper, and everyone in town knew who she was. She was described not only as successful, but charismatic and very involved in her community and even with her clients. Yes, she would find him a home and she would make money, but she was the kind of person that she'd keep in touch. She sometimes even attended weddings, baby showers, and became a friend to more than one of her clients. She had one of those bright smiles that was inviting and warm, and everyone knew her or knew of her in her community. She was happily married. She met her husband when she was only 16 years old, and she was working at a local hamburger place in Texas. They dated, and soon enough were married. They had 3 boys, and when they grew up, they gave them 6 grandchildren. Their marriage was wonderful until it stopped being wonderful. Her husband had an affair. They started to have money issues, and they both had to work very hard on restoring their relationship. So instead of getting a divorce, they worked in their relationship. And 20 years into it, they renewed their vows at this big party that she never had when she first got married, being so young. But Beverly wanted more out of life. After this renewing of vows, she decided that she was going to get her real estate license. And not only that, but she was going to work with 3 of her girlfriends. By the year 2013, she was the top agent with over $12 million in sales. $12 million, it's quite a bit of money, especially for her market. By the time she turned 50, she decided that she wanted to go get back in shape. She started exercising, running, and she also had a tummy tuck and implants. She wanted to look and feel good, and she thought it'd be very important for her business. initially talked to this guy, and he said he wanted to buy it. She asked if it was only him. They said no, that he had a wife, and Beverly even talked to the wife. The day that they agreed to meet, Beverly didn't really want to go. It was later in the afternoon, but she thought it's gonna be a quick sell, easy closing, because they were gonna pay cash. And, she just pushed herself to do it. She talked to the couple once again, and they said that both of them would be there, which made her feel safer. On the way there, she calls her husband and say, I'll be home for dinner, please wait for me. But then it got dark, and everyone started calling her, starting with her husband, and she just wouldn't pick up the phone. So he decided to go check on her. He knew the house that she was trying to sell was nearby their pastor's home. So he drove there to see if her car was there, if she was still showing the house. The car was there, but she wasn't in the house, and he immediately knew that something bad happened. She wouldn't leave her car there with her purse inside. So he called the office, called her friends, but nobody knew where she was. That was the last place that they knew she was going. So her husband, and his name is Carl, called the police. She knew better. She wouldn't do this to them. Especially being aware of the dangers in the business. She knew that people were, going to be waiting for her and checking on her. So the police got to the house where she was supposed to show it to the couple. They did a quick look around. But at that time, at 1 a.m., Beverly's husband, Carl, gets a message from Beverly's phone, and it said something like, "Yes, sorry, phone's dead, having drinks now." Then her friends and co-workers got the messages. "I'm sorry, my phone has been dead. I just turned it back on. I'm having drinks with friends." Now the friends wondered, what friends? If she was gonna go out for drinks, she would have told them. They are her friends, closest friends. So one of the friends decided to send a message back to her, talking about a red folder. Apparently, a red folder was something that they would use on a text if something was sketchy, or if they needed help, or if they were in danger. But Beverly never replied. The police also found some odd tire tracks in the properties, or by the properties' front door. It seemed like somebody backed up into the front door to load something. When they questioned the neighbors, one of them said that she saw a black vehicle pull into the driveway, and that 30 minutes later backed up into the front door. The witness also said that there was a skinny white guy with short hair at the property. The police opened Beverly's car, and they found a notebook in the back seat. In there, they found the email and phone number of this couple that were supposed to meet her there. this was something silly that happened years ago, but he even wanted to mention that, so the police would know that he was being 100% honest. While they were interrogating the husband, the police were actually kind of digging a little bit deeper into the phone number and the email, and they ended up with 2 names. They also got some information from her cell phone company saying that she took some pictures that night and that they were dark and blurry, like she was not into it, or maybe she was scared. But back to the names that the police found: Aaron Lewis and his wife Crystal Lowry. Aaron fitted the description of a skinny white guy with dark hair. But they had to be careful. They didn't want to spook them and risk Beverly's life. So they had the house under surveillance, hoping that they would lead them to Beverly. Apparently, Aaron realized that the police was outside, and so he got in his car and tried to get away from the police. But he had an accident as he sped off, so the police took a picture of him and released him to go to the hospital. When he was stable and waiting for a scan, he escaped from the hospital. But the police, having his picture on how he looked right after the accident, released that to the media, hoping that if anybody ran into this guy, they would report him. So finally, the police gets a call from a mortgage office. They knew Beverly, and they were having a conversation when one of the guys looked out the window and said that he was pretty sure that, the guy that they were looking for was right there. To confirm, he puts the phone down and meets the guy at the bus stop. They chat about the schedule, and the guy from the office leaves and tells 911 it's him. Aaron left the bus station and went into a sandwich shop. Then he hears somebody say, "That's him," which of course spooked him. So he ran across the street to this apartment complex. When the police got there, they found him, but he jumped from a second-story window. He was finally taken to the station, and there he started talking. He said that if anything happened to her, it was Trevor's fault. That he found Beverly through a paper or a billboard, some kind of ad, and that he figured she would have money and her family would pay for her ransom. He also said that Beverly got there before him and that he told her that his wife couldn't make it and asked her to take some pictures. Again, that's why she had those blurry and dark pictures on her phone. And then he said that when they went upstairs, he used a flashlight taser and later on took her. He said that he was working with this guy, Trevor, and that he left her with him alive. He even pulls out his phone and, plays a recording. It was Beverly saying, quote, "Carl, it's Beverly. I just want to let you know I'm okay. I haven't been hurt. Just do what he says. And please, don't call the police. If you call the police, it could be bad. I love you very much." The police immediately look into Trevor was in the Air Force at the time. They interviewed him, and he said he was on base in training and everything checked out. He had nothing to do with Beverly's kidnapping, and really, Aaron was throwing him under the bus. The police asked Aaron to take them to wherever Beverly was. And Aaron agrees. He drives 30 miles out of town and stopped by an old shed. She wasn't there, and police later confirmed that she'd never been there. Then he says, "I'll show you the first spot I took her. And this other spot, she wasn't there either, and she's never been there." But then a detective remembered a cement plant and asked Aaron, "Is she there?" He didn't say anything, but immediately looked up, very surprised. So the detective decided to check out the cement plant, and soon enough, they found a shallow grave with an elbow sticking out. After this, Aaron and his wife Crystal were both charged with kidnapping and murder. He pled not guilty, but as he was exiting the building, the reporter asked, "Why Beverly?" And he said, "Because she was a rich broker." So you're saying you're not guilty, but now you're basically saying that you did it because she had money. Then he started making up excuses and lies, like he was saying that they were gonna meet at the house to have a grown-up party, alleging that apparently they were gonna meet just for sex. Nobody believed him. Then he said that the kidnap really went wrong. So the police at that point knew that they couldn't get a straight answer out of this guy. So they offered Crystal a reduced sentence if she would confess and actually help them. On January 2016, the prosecution star witness Crystal testified. She said that Aaron came up with the idea of kidnapping Beverly. That the day she was taken, Crystal was in class. She was attending nursing school. She then said that she got a text that said, "Look at this," and attached was a picture of Beverly inside his trunk. Crystal said that when she got home, Beverly was in her bathroom. Then Aaron, the genius, realized that he left her purse at the house and that he had no way of taking money out of the ATM with no card. So Aaron went back to the house, and he was even stopped by an officer that asked him if he'd seen Beverly. That's when he realized that it was game over. He went back to the house, and Crystal realized that her medicine was inside the bathroom and that Beverly knew her name. So they both decided that she had to die. So he put Beverly in the trunk of his car again and drove to the cement plant. I mean, this is so hard to even say it, but he wrapped her face in duct tape and left her to suffocate. Went back home and said to Crystal, "It's done." Aaron stuck to his plan and continued to say that it was a random hookup, not a kidnapping. That he changed the story again and said Crystal was sleeping with Beverly, and that the tape was not real, that it was a speech synthesis, which doesn't make sense, basically a fake thing. And we know that it was Beverly, and he was just not smart enough to pull that off. He was found guilty of all charges and got 2 life sentences, which he appealed in 2018 and in 2019, but it was denied. I will never understand this kind of people that think that they're smart enough to do something so that needs to be so meticulously calculated, committing a any kind of kidnapping. If you don't want to hurt your victim, it's super hard. People have done it, gotten away with it, but it's not one of those things that it's easy to do. It requires a certain level of training, or you being in. I don't know when Aaron decided that he was smart enough to do this. Never brought the purse, never called the family, never. It's just one of those cases that I'm like, what did you think you were going to get out of this? What, really? Just tell me one thing you thought you'd get out of this. When he said that he realized that she had no purse, I'm like, okay, that's just a little too much. And all for what? No money and now in jail. I guess that's kind of genius that this guy was, or is, I should say. Such a dangerous job. Such a terrible tragedy. I think nobody can prepare you to face something like this. I don't care how much you know your job is dangerous. I always say, soldiers and everyone, they're ready to die. But I don't think they wake up one day and they're like, it's okay if I die today. I don't think anybody is ready to die that day. And I don't think anybody should. And no matter how ready you are, and no matter how much training or how much experience you have, evil will do that. Anyways, this is, I think, the second case that I covered in real estate. The other one was in Canada, if you remember. I covered last year about the cul-de-sac. If you missed it, I have a link down below, but that one is still unsolved. This one, a genius planned it, so it was a matter of time until he got caught. Let me know what you think if you're still awake in the comments down below. Thank you so much.